Yeah, you start. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen all over the world. I would like to welcome you to our presentation today on the second edition of International Conference on Green Chemistry and Renewable Energy. I would like to thank Robbie Davison from Magnuson Conferences, who was inviting me as a keynote speaker. I would like to thank Thomas Schirmeier, my graphic designer, who made all these graphics, which we show later. I thank Uli Felger, which is our webmaster in Germany, and of course this magnificent team here in Samal Island. Thank you very much. Also, my thanks go to Java Print, who was making all this enlargement of our beautiful photos. Okay, we will now start with our program. And I would like to explain you what's going to happen today in the next 30 minutes. First of all, the topic is, will hydrogen be able to solve the energy problems of the world? Yes or no, we will find it out. So we start with the basic, then we have analysis, so there's some slides about hydrogen, we will have an outlook, and later there will be some questions. So first we talk about the Earth's energy balance, how strong the sun is for our planet here on the Earth. Then we will have a look at the worldwide energy production by sources from back to 1860 to 2020. We will analyze the German power grid of the last year and its development. And then we have 3 slides on our topic, hydrogen. One is hydrogen and the laws of physics. One are 4 steps to a new energy supply. And the third is, can 3 cars supply a skyscraper? Or can 3 cars power a skyscraper? And my outlook, my personal advice for all of you is the use of the personal power provider, which I called 3P+. And later we may have some questions. Okay, thank you very much. Now we will come to our first slide. Now we come to our first slide, which is called the Earth's energy balance. Okay. The energy which we receive from the sun is far beyond imagination. It is 5.6 10 square 24 joule per year. That is what the sun is giving on our small planet here on the Earth. So most of it is reflected into the atmosphere or by the surface. There's a heat transfer. But only very little is used by the people. At least we need a magnifier to see how small the amount of mechanical energy conversion by humans is. It is in fact only 0.005%. So we have to in fact look through the magnifier to see the small little amount of mechanical energy conversion by humans. 0.005% of the whole solar radiation, which means the energy which emitted by the sun on one day would supply the energy need of the whole world for almost 30 years. So when we see the sun in one day, this energy is enough to supply the world for the next 30 years. So maybe mankind is not smart enough to use this energy sufficiently. Okay, that was our first slide. Now we come to the number 2, analysis 2. This mechanical conversion by human was done since 1860, when the industrialization started in Great Britain, it started mostly by coal, or firstly by coal, which means here the coal went up from 1860 and is now the second biggest primary energy in the world. Later, the oil came, and the oil started increase in the 1960s with the building of the highway, the American highway, and therefore it increases here. There's a little dent, and this is a promising thing because the consumption of oil is going back in the last year. The third biggest source of energy is gas, which also went up very rapidly. And so-called renewable energies here in green are very little compared. We added all the fossil fuels together to this line, and all the renewables together to this line, which is biomass, hydropower, solar, wind, and biofuels. So that's only a little percentage of the whole fossil fuels which are still used on the Earth. So I was born in the year 1946, and we will now make a line in 46, just fake, and also here, 46. So when I was a baby, we did not use very much energy in this time, only such little compared to the amount which we are using today, which brought a lot of wealth and increase of standard of living, but still it was on the cost of our nature, on the cost of the nature in the Earth. So maybe we are not smart enough to use all this when we have in the background the immense power of the sun, which will now lead us to our third program. That's the analysis of the German electricity grid. The German power grid for electricity, here you see the poles and the wires, is in fact 1,883,605 kilometers long. That's a lot. And the growth rate from 2020 to 21 was only 0.04% or 0.4%. That's very little growth rate because everybody says Germany needs a new power grid, but they are not able to make it. Additional to this, we have a total number of substations who are running 24/7, transforming all the different voltage levels up and down to 9 kilowatt, to 100, to 35 kilowatt, to 100 kilowatt, to 133 kilowatt. So we need all the substations, in fact 566,300 units looking like this and running all the time. This figure is from 2006. Nobody in Germany knows exactly how many substations we have today in 2022. Now this figure 1.8 million doesn't say much, but it is a lot when you compare it to the distance from the Earth to the moon. So here is our little moon, and we will now show you how it goes when we have the electricity grid going 4.8 times from the Earth to the moon. Just watch it. So that's second time. Now again, number 4. No, only look. Only for look. Number 4. Number 3. How far are you? Number 3 or number 4? Wow. This is 4.8. You see. Can we count?
Yes.
How much? 1, 2, 3, 4,
4.8 times the distance between the
The
Earth and the Moon.
is the German electricity grid. Wow, that's a lot. And I think it's not very smart when we know that we have this immense power of the sun. Thank you very much. Now we come to our hydrogen topic. And here again, there are many misunderstandings and many myths about the laws of physics of hydrogen. Because hydrogen is not an energy, hydrogen is only an energy carrier. It needs to be made. So for the making of hydrogen, we have an electrolyzer. Yeah, that's one. The electrolyzer is making hydrogen out of water with electricity. And to come back from hydrogen to electricity, we need a fuel cell. That's that one. The fuel cell makes electricity out of hydrogen. But these two combined processes, for the electrolyzer to the fuel cell, takes a lot of losses. In fact, the losses are 67%, because here's now our electrolyzer and here's the process of changing. So we only have 1/3 left, which means from 100% which we are using in the beginning, there's only 33% left which can be used later. So we must think about this when we say, oh, we want hydrogen, we all want hydrogen. So we must always have these figures in question. They may change a little with new technologies, but at the moment that's what it is. Thank you very much. Where's the clock? Now we come to topic number 5, hydrogen. And this is one of my energy ideas, which I had in the year 2003. I released this idea. So the idea is, once we have, or when we make hydrogen directly from renewable energy, like from wind or photovoltaic, solar energy, we make the hydrogen, and the renewable energy produce direct hydrogen, which is then used in the car. They drive on hydrogen using fuel cells inside the cars. That's Volkswagen, that's the Daimler. Now these two steps are already reached, step number 1 and step number 2, but in fact the market does not really accept this. The market doesn't really respond. In Germany there are maybe 2,000 hydrogen cars altogether, and we have 47 million cars in Germany registered. And 2,000 of them are hydrogen cars. That's more or less than nothing. So we need 2 more steps. Step number 3 is, while parked here outside the buildings, these vehicles can supply electricity and even converting heat to the buildings when they are connected with a special plug-in device. And while these cars are supplying energy to the buildings, the car owners can earn money based on the electricity plus heat supplied by these vehicles. So that's the new idea. Number 3 and number 4 has not been done yet. My idea is open and online since 2003, so everybody can use it. And in fact, I showed this graphic to the board member for strategic planning of Daimler Chrysler at that time, or Daimler, but he did not understand. Later I went to his home and showed it his wife and his children. I think the children understood, but he was only laughing about it. Never mind. We all have the right to make our own mistakes. So that is hydrogen number 5. Now we come to the point hydrogen 6. And that is a question, can 35 cars power one skyscraper? This is the skyscraper which my team has built. Oh, applause! It took some weeks to make it. And here you can see the 35 cars. And we have some samples here for automatic driving. So these cars are trying to find the parking place, if they are lucky. So that's autonomous parking, but you can see it's maybe the wrong software. It doesn't really work. But anyway, we have worked it out. In this case of 35 cars parked at a skyscraper, based on this basic idea, they can supply this skyscraper with energy, and it doesn't need any grid connection or any gas supply or anything else. It's easily done. So let's say we have worked the calculation for 4 different sizes of cars, from 515 kilowatt, that's a very big American car, maybe here something like this, to 23 kilowatt, that's a small car maybe in Germany. So when you have 35 cars with 23 kilowatt, you come to the end of 0.8 megawatt. That's a lot, and you can supply 1 office building in Germany. When you have 35 cars with 77 kilowatt each, you come to 2.7 megawatt, and you can supply maybe 180 offices in China with 15 kilowatt each. When you have 35 cars with 242 kilowatt, which is also possible, they are on the market, they add up to 8.6 megawatt, for which you can supply 29 apartments, 290 apartments in Italy with 30 kilowatt each. And when you have these big cars with 515 kilowatt each, 35 of them here in the parking place, you can supply 90 houses in the USA with 200 kilowatt each. All those photos I took myself. This is in Huntington Beach in California. This is in Florence, Italy. That's the river called Arno. The river Arno in Italy, Florence. This is a view from my office in Shanghai, where I had an office 2002 to 2004. And this is the environmental department in Germany, in Dessau, East Germany. So that was number 6. So far, we maybe know a little more, but now we come to our outlook, which is number 7. Again, here we have what I call a personal power provider, 3+. This little building we have built ourselves. Here you see, in this annex is a 3+. Here's a 3+. Inside this little house, and here's our house, and here's a car in the garage. So the basic idea is that we don't need any grids, we don't need any gas, we don't need anything from outside, because to be honest, we cannot really rely on them. So we make everything ourselves. That's the basic idea. So we use, of course, the sun. We remember it is an immense power. We use wind energy, solar power, biomass, hydropower, excuse me, running water, geothermy, and maybe even some new sources which we don't even know. Then we put it in our black box. This one is a personal power provider. That's our personal power provider. And here we have the input, all locally available real renewable energies from our property. The output, all personal power energy needs. Heat to be used 100% on site. So if there is conversion heat, we use it on site for heating and cooling. That's our symbolic personal power provider, which is also not on the market yet, but I made this proposal in the year 2008 at the fuel cell seminar in Phoenix, Arizona, USA. I presented this graphic and this idea. But again, maybe I was ahead of the time because nobody understood it until now. Maybe somebody in the audience can build it. So now we come to our last point. This is our summary. Okay, you go. Let's see. So, go. Okay, we come to our summary. First of all, I would like to thank you for your patience. Secondly, do you have any questions? I'm now open for questions. We must try the connection to our conference headquarters, which we'll see later. So this is the audience. Here you can get in touch with me directly by email, arno@aievers.com. This is my personal website. This is my company website, hydrogenambassadors.com. And I also have a website about this enterprise here called sunnyhouses@samalisland.com. Also Google knows them, they will find it. So this was our little outlook to the question, will hydrogen be able to solve the energy problems of the world? Like this. So you have to answer the question yourself. You must follow our analysis and think about it, what we are doing right and what we are doing wrong. And maybe you will find the answer. Remember the energy-earth balance. Remember the worldwide production by source. Remember the German power grid. Hydrogen and the laws of physics. We have discussed it. Then there are 4 steps for a new energy supply. Can 35 cars power a skyscraper? And the last one is my proposal for this little personal power provider. So that was the end of our presentation. Thank you very much.